You find that has happened over hundreds of years before the contemporary times throughout history. It's just been the nature of man and the nature of and that's the same thing with cultural appropriation too, you know, because it's just like with America being a giant melting pot and all of that, how can you adequately sort of atone for all the things that you've taken from culture when you don't really know where it's coming from and where it really is? And to suggest all of that being given back to its rightful owners is a little bit ridiculous when we know about the natural ebb and flow of culture. And I say that because that's the hypocrisy of liberalism. You know, it's like, on the one hand, we talked about this already, you are all proponents of respecting culture and not taking it away, yet you'll continue to have hip-hop music and take a seat at a university and not support your own affirmative action plan as you are advocating for as a privileged whatever white person. That's the interesting thing. And unfortunately, it's not talked about enough. And the thing is, all it takes is for a few people to talk about it, and then they'll realize, oh, okay. Like I'm starting.
But that's why we're being censored, right? Because a lot of other people on other channels are talking about this stuff, and they want to keep that narrative, so it's easy to brainwash people. And you know what I've noticed? I've thought about. I might make a video going into some more depth about it. There's a Holocaust movie like every year. Like how many times are we gonna like have to watch Holocaust movies? There's like a slavery movie every other year, and then in between that, the slavery movies, there's a movie about Jim Crow, like the segregation, to kind of keep it from that static ground.
Huh? Yeah, no, they don't know about anything else. Like my sisters, they're homeschooled, and they are teaching me stuff. Like they're much younger than me, but since they were homeschooled, they learned about the Bolshevik War. They knew so much that I was not taught in school. And I had that tried to tell me, she's like, you should put your kid, like when I was like around the time I was about to start doing homeschool, she was like, you should do public school. And I was like, are you kidding me? Over my dead body? Are you serious? No, they don't teach them anything. It's not. That's why people think that Holocaust is like the only thing they can think of, in Hitler, as if that's the only wars that ever occur, and slavery. Like,
it's not just in our. It's not. But my point too is not. It's not just in our school system. Combined with our school system, it's in our movie culture.
Yeah, the
movies. I'm not saying flipping other Holocaust movie. No more. No more slavery movies. No, I'm not supporting that anymore. There's plenty. You know, I've heard it 6 million times. 6 million Jews. 6 million movies. 6 million. It's been just. It's so frustrating that, you know, it seems like they're just trying to ram it into our heads, just this whole narrative, and that also kind of goes into the whole like what Zach was saying about like the school system and stuff. It all like kind of fits in like a puzzle to create this mentality, you know, about white man and Hitler, and you know, you would think that Jews and blacks are the only people that suffered oppression.
Genocide is alive and real. 6 million Chinese died under the Japanese, 2 million Manchurians, 2 million Koreans, and countless Indo-Chinese Muslims and Jews. The Japanese murdered Jews too, but we don't talk about that.
I want to go ahead and bring up something real quick. Our Vice President, Mike Pence, put out an official statement a couple of days ago, but basically China has highly compromised our nation. So the way that he put it is that our federal, our state, and local government employees are compromised. Our movie culture is compromised. Our school system is compromised. And all of these things are actually being influenced by the Chinese communist regime. On top of, I think we're getting $300 million worth of intellectual property stolen from us per year. So I thought I'd bring that up since you said Asians. You know, right now we're kind of like in a cold war with China. You know what I'm saying? And I
agree. Yeah.
The vice president, I'm glad that he had the balls to actually put it out there, because I know like with foreign affairs, they're very diplomatic, you know, and there's certain things they won't talk about. But he just put it straight out there and said, look, China is messing us up real bad right now. So a lot of these things that y'all are talking about, oh, I'm tired of the movie, or oh, this education, there's a lot of Chinese influence. A lot of this, the government, the left, and the Democrats, there's a lot of Chinese influence, you know. So keep that in mind.
And I'm a xenophile. That means I love Chinese culture and language and stuff. So it's not against the people per se, but it's the government. We are in a Cold War.
Yeah,
He's a dictatorship.
Yeah,
right.
and it's very true what Prometheus just said. So.
And that's something that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was wondering, are you talking also about, because I don't know much about this. I just saw a video recently about Google like trying to do something with China to control the media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about much more than that.
They own a lot of our movie studios. They own a lot of our lands. They own the port of Long Beach. Okay. They own a lot of Chinese people are allowed to come and buy land. We're not able to do that in China.
A lot of ports.
But I think that there's basically Chinese money, so to speak, circulating within our infrastructure, and that's what's leading to a lot of these individuals being compromised, and the gradual degradation of our society. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, Google is trying to work with China. Yes, they're trying to connect our phone numbers into their search logs, and you can find people's information with a phone number, but tie all of that into Mike Pence's official statement he gave yesterday. It's serious.
Apple also gave all the Chinese our keys. The computer, Apple. Right. That's on record.
No, definitely. Yeah, I'm truly, honestly not surprised. There is a lot of foreign influence. There is.
Yeah, and I think that basically the media during these last 2 years, they were actually using Russia as a deflection for what's been going on with China all this time. And it's kind of like how Magnificent said, it's the lesser of two evils. So I think the media intentionally, wanted to put all the blame on Russia while ignoring the fact that China is a world power, that's having a much more devastating effect against us.
Anybody else want to add to the China thing? Because the next question is going to be, I want to do 2 more so we can start wrapping it up. Let's see. It was, do you think the tech companies are going to try and swing the election?
Of course. They have a pay for play scheme. If you really think about it, remember when they say, oh, you can promote your post, or you could promote your tweet. That's the same type of concept. That's pay for play, and it makes things unfair because people, let's say, who aren't paying anything, they're automatically being put on the back burner. Now, if you add that with all these algorithms, that are being created by liberals, so they're probably liberal-based algorithms, on top of the shadow banning, which I've personally experienced, people let me know, they are definitely working against our collective interests.
Yeah, and I'll go a step further. I don't even think it's liberal. I think it's leftist, because liberals, I think, the classical liberals still stand for free speech, and you see YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, what did they do? They purged Alex Jones. They put him in the digital gulag for his free speech. And the way that Google's been curating information, Conservative Mexican actually had a video about this about a month ago. When you Google illegal alien crime report, the first thing that pops up via Google is the myth of the criminal immigrant. But you type that same thing, that same exact thing verbatim into DuckDuckGo, you get what you're looking for. So therefore, Google is curating information. So make sure that people who want to research the truth, people are like, wait a minute, something isn't right. I'm going to go look this up for myself. The first thing they think of is Google. They don't think of DuckDuckGo. They don't think of Bing. They don't think of Yahoo search. They think of Google. And so when they see it, they're like, wow, New York Times is saying this, and all these other NPR, they're saying the same thing. They're going to fall right back into the matrix, but they don't realize it's the same bullet ricocheting off different walls. And, with YouTube, a lot of people were going to YouTube for the 2016 election. That's what helped sway it, getting all these conspiracy theory channels, but in reality, they're just truth tellers. And now they flipped it on its head, where if you type in something you want to see, it's like, ooh, let me look up Iran nuclear deal. Let me look up Hillary Clinton's uranium deal. The first thing you're going to get is like CNN videos and MSNBC videos. You have to scroll down like 4 pages to even find Mark Dice and get his take on it. you have to like really search for stuff now. So the way I see it, they've already set it up to where people can't really dig for the right information. They can't find it. So I think that they've already done enough censoring. I mean, the elections are coming up in a month, so there's how much more can they really do, especially now that they took Alex Jones off the internet. But absolutely, they've done so much just since 2016 to kind of dig their heels in on this information awakening.
Can they actually go in and like cancel people's votes? I mean, I should have added to this earlier, but one of the things that I would like to see change is going back to paper ballots and not relying on digital. And honestly, if you think about it, that would make everyone happy because, you know, all this talk about Russia being able to interfere with the elections would go away. If it was paper, then that wouldn't be, it would be an issue, you know? So making everything electronic. I think somebody was telling me now that you can vote on your phone. They have voting apps and stuff. It's just going to make it easier for them to go in and, you know, switch numbers around.
And it makes it easier for illegals to vote too.
Yeah. And I was going to say, so if I think, well, maybe there's somebody else that's more tech savvy because I think Uber guy's pretty tech savvy, but he had to bounce. I guess he wasn't feeling well. But if there were more people that showed up and won, I mean, if showed up and voted than they had anticipated for, is that still a way to like to outwit them and to beat their system? Because for somebody was telling me, from what I understand, maybe I'm wrong, that they can set up a certain amount of fake votes through the technology, but still, if you still kind of, if they underestimate it and there's still people that physically go and vote, then it's still hard for them to like I don't know. Does it make sense? Like it's so hard for them. I'm not sure how that works. So I'm completely ignorant when it comes to that. Does anybody
technology is trying to ruin us. I hate technology. I hate science. I'm about common sense. Technology is trying to ruin us. Technology is destroying this country, and that's what I'm saying. Because what we are doing in this movement, it's not technology. It's not even technology we're doing. It's just common sense. If you look at with Alex Jones, that wasn't technology right there. With anybody that's against censor, people that get censored, it's not technology. They want to use technology to destroy us. They want to use technology to just get rid of us, to take us off. They probably want to just kill us. That's how I freaking feel. You know, I don't want to rant long because I'm in a mood in my life right now. I actually want to rant the next couple of days. I just want to say stuff for like 5 or 10 seconds because it's just like it's freaking irritating me. But you know what? We're gonna fight. No matter what, we're gonna all fight. Technology is trying to destroy us. Technology is promote more globalism, and you know it's so scary. These college kids, these liberal kids, got all this technology. It's so much technology with the liberal kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say a liberal kid. It's so much technology, and technology is dumb as hell. I'm just saying, technology is dumb as hell. Take it away. I'm done.
But don't you see the interesting sort of points connect with technology and young people? It's dumb. It makes us dumber. It's controlled by the biggest corporations. Therefore, they censor and they feed us information on a daily basis, thus making sure that we are ensured to be connected, yet we feel more isolated than any other generation in history. And on top of that, repeated exposure to a lot of this BS that's already been catered to you. So I agree with you there. I mean, I think that technology is a very, very useful tool to get information out there. But discernment of technology and deducing information is what is lacking with my generation, because it's kind of like,
and we need you. That's why we need you, brother. We need you, brother.
I appreciate it. No, but it's true, because you are. There's one, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think most young people would agree that it's a false reality that's being pushed forward. However, that is not being explicit. That's not clear with information. And people think that they know what it is that they're learning, because think about who controls all your news sources, right? Think about, like, the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, right? You got Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. And obviously there are catered ads or sponsored ads. On Twitter, I saw a Kamala Harris petition. Like, it's just like you see catered information that's going to you all the time. So it's not just the insecurity of watching the world go by. It's also the being desensitized to information that you don't really know as to being true or not, because you're not really taught investigative and deducing information, right? Because it's just so saturated. On top of that, getting information out there is really, really great. I just think that we're in a position right now where it's oversaturated. Like, people are checked out on information because there's too much information. Often you go up to a young person, you ask them their thoughts on it. I don't think that most people are blatantly like just incapable of talking about their thoughts. I just think you're so swept away by information and social media and people's better lives than you that it essentially is destroying you. You know, you lose a sense of individuality with it. But I think that that's exactly what they want, which is why you keep coming back, because it keeps reinforcing your behavior. You keep going back and looking at it. So, but being aware of that is usually the first step. And I think I know a lot of the young people that kind of are aware of that, and they know that what's on Instagram and Twitter is just kind of being fed to you by the masses. So, you know, I don't think it's a lost cause.
I agree, but one thing that I noticed that happened a long time ago, like maybe, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, but they came out with this new technology called, personalization. So during that time period, people were getting their, if they go to like YouTube or if they go to social media, it was being personalized to cater to, what they like. So when you're pushing this whole personalization backed by all these echo chambers, you're widening that gap in between people. You see what I'm saying? And people are going to be less likely to talk and to listen to each other because everybody is just completely used to their own world. Their online experience has been personalized for them. So that came out many years ago, and building on top of that, I noticed certain things. That's when with the social media, people they gave into the simulation, and people stopped, kicking it with each other as much. On top of that,
shows you not even go out and play anymore. Right.
Right. Over here. Exactly, and the thing is, it's like they take our body, like our own biology, and it's kind of like they use it against us, so that's why social media has been pointed out to be addictive or get people depressed, because I guess everybody, with the personalization and then with the social media kind of replacing, like real life friendships and relationships for an instant message and for some likes, that maybe drove down people's self-esteem to, where they're more readily to accept all this information, so it's all interconnected, man. But I think it started back with personalization and it got worse from there.